How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life Made Easy. And today I'm continuing my series with the OBS Beginner's Guide, series of tutorials on how to use this program. And if you guys go on and get some value out of this video and enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know exactly when I upload. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member or buy some Life Made Easy merchandise. That's all linked below in the description. And make sure to check out the Life Made Easy podcast. So without further ado, let's get into today's tutorial, and we're going to be discussing something within settings. We're going to be discussing some stuff about bitrate, live streaming, and recording formats. So we're going to head over to settings. We're going to spend pretty much the entire episode in settings here today. Hopefully you guys can see all this pretty clearly. I'm recording this at 1080p, so it should be pretty sharp. So the general part of OBS is pretty useless. I mainly just use this with what kind of theme I want to use. I like dark just because it's a little less strenuous on the eyes. But today we're going to be mainly looking at the output tab. So since I'm recording, I can't alter some of these settings, which is kind of annoying, but I can go through a lot of what they are and explain what the options are that would come up. So right now it's under simple mode. You can also go into advanced. If you go into advanced, it'll show several tabs, but simple is probably the easiest for a beginner. So if we look under streaming, and I discussed live streaming to YouTube last episode, but here's when you actually get into the weeds of streaming and the settings you want to pay attention to. So first setting here, probably the most important one, or second most important one, is bitrate. Bitrate is basically in the name. The explanation of it is in the name. It's a transfer of data unit. It's the rate of transfer of data, bits obviously, from basically what you're streaming to the viewer's computer or mobile phone or tablet or whatnot. So it's basically how much data you're transferring at a certain rate. So it's in kilobytes per second. Now this can be converted to megabytes per second. For example, if you have this at 6,000 kbps, that'd be the equivalent of 6 megabytes per second. So this all depends on your internet speed, upload speed specifically, not download speed, just upload speed, how fast you can upload that data to the internet and then to the audience on their streaming device. So basically, it's all up to your internet speed. So say you have a pretty decent internet speed, I would focus it at 3,500 for a decent internet speed. And if you have really good internet speed, I'd bump it up to like 6,000. So it's personal preference. You can definitely go in there and test it out. It's up to you. So next we're going to be looking at encoder. This is also very important, what kind of encoder you choose. Now there's hardware encoders and there's software encoders, and they're a little different on how they work. So I'm going to recommend for you guys, if you have a decent GPU, then I would select the graphics card or the hardware encoder. So for me it'd be NVENC, because I have an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960M on my laptop. So for the most part, I'm going to be using this. And the reason you want to use this if you're streaming is if you don't have as powerful as a CPU, because streaming takes a ton of power and it takes a lot on your CPU, puts a lot of pressure on your CPU. So if you can use your GPU and take some stress off the CPU, it can help a lot and won't affect your live streaming quality as much. So for me, I usually use NVENC. But if you guys have a decent CPU and really good upload speed, you can also select x64, which is a software CPU based encoder settings, but I'm going to stick with that. It all depends on your GPU. If you have a really good GPU, just select NVENC. Or it can also work with AMD if you have an AMD graphics card or something like that. Audio bitrate, most YouTubers recommend just 160. If you go higher, you can, but like it depends on what kind of audio quality you want. I just recommend 160. Enable advanced encoder settings. I mean, I have that enabled right here. I would recommend that as well. Don't really pay attention to enforced streaming services, but really whatever, just leave that checked and whatever. Encoder preset. This is also personal preference and the power, and all depends on the power of your computer and internet speed. For me, I always like max quality, just because I like outputting the best quality possible. But you can also go for performance-based encoder presets like low latency. So low latency, as I explained in my last video, is basically like the time between you doing an action on your screen and it actually showing up in your live stream for the viewer to actually see. So if you want low latency, you can also select the performance side, but I like max quality. I'm going to stick with that. Obviously, it's going to have a higher latency if you select max quality, but it doesn't really matter. So obviously, I can't really affect any of these recording settings right now just because I'm recording on OBS, but you can select where you want to save your clips for your recordings like I'm doing right now. Just select a desktop folder or something, somewhere you can keep track of them really easily and access them pretty quickly. But for recording quality, I usually like to go high quality, medium sized file. There's several options here where you can select like really large file sizes. I don't prefer that just because obviously you don't have unlimited storage. If you're using cloud-based storage, then I guess you could do that, or if you have a really large hard drive or SSD. But I usually like medium file size just because it's high quality video, but it doesn't take up too much space. Recording format, there's a million options here, but for me, I find MP4 is the best, and it's the most kind of like universal in a way, and MP4 is accepted like literally everywhere. Recordings, you always want to use your graphics card. Don't really ever want to use your CPU software-based encoder, because the thing is, when you have a graphics card and it takes a lot of stress off the CPU and you're recording via that method, you can bump up the bit rate an absolute ton, which is awesome. And then you can do custom mixer settings, but I just leave that alone for now. So yeah, guys, that's basically it for this video on what you want to look for when you're actually deciding to stream and record. Next video, I'll probably do a tutorial that's more focused on the video output, maybe some audio output and stuff like that. But that's the stuff you want to pay attention to, and for the most part when it comes to streaming and recording. As I said, it all depends on your internet speed, and it all depends on how good your CPU is on your computer, i7, i5, i3, i9 even, if you have a good enough CPU like that, or if you have a Ryzen series like the Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, and it all depends on your GPU. If you have a GTX, I don't know, 2080 Ti, something insane like that, or if you have a lower budget one like a 940M or 950 or something like that. So it all depends on that. You can look up, you can Google probably like the best settings for you depending on what graphics card you have, and the internet's pretty good at explaining how powerful your graphics card is. But you can also do clock tests on the internet to see how powerful those kinds of graphics cards are. So you can do the research on that. For me, I have a 960M, and I usually like to stick around like 25 to 35 kilobits per second, obviously because I'm streaming on a laptop and my internet's pretty fast. But obviously I don't have the most powerful laptop to power it, and I don't run off Ethernet when I live stream. So that'll be changing in the future once I get my own like full-on gaming PC and my own like Ethernet internet connection, stuff like that. So if you're a computer company and you're watching this, I'd always be down to do a sponsored video. If you want to send me out some PC parts or a, I don't know, laptop or a tower or something like that, always down. And then once you have these settings and you fix them to how you like, just click apply and then okay, and then you'll be good to go. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, go check out the Life Made Easy podcast. I appreciate all you sticking by and watching the video. Hopefully you found this valuable. Stay tuned for the next episode in this series. And yeah, go check out Gaming Made Easy if you want to watch some videos over there. It's my second channel, do gaming content. And I'll see you guys in the future. I am out.